Hey guys, it's Michelle here and welcome to the M Blog channel. In today's video, we're going to be sharing some tips for your LA trip. It's going to be 5 tips. I'm really excited to share with this because we recently took our trip to LA. It was 3 days and I definitely feel like what I'm going to be talking about this video made a huge difference in our trip overall. I felt really satisfied and happy with how our trip went, so I want to make sure I share these tips with you guys. Also, don't feel like this is just for LA only. You can definitely use this for any other city or destination you go to. So yeah, nonetheless, let's get started with the video. The first tip I'm going to share with you guys is to start early. There's 2 reasons why I think this is a good tip for you for going to LA or any place you might visit. Is 1, things get expensive the closer that you approach that date, and number 2, it'll give you more time to research. What I mean by this is you'll have more time to read blogs from Google that you might search, or Yahoo or Bing or whatever your search engine is. You'll be able to look up destination places, blogs, what people have done in their day-to-day when they visit these destinations places. You'll have more time for that, and you'll also be able to watch YouTube videos. So I recommend watching YouTube videos of the destination you are going to. Personally, when I was going to LA, I watched a ton of Disney YouTube videos because number 1, it's so different than before with the reservations, Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, which is a whole other video I can share with you guys. But I spent so much time like just watching these videos that if I didn't start early and I was just jam-packing all this information a day or 2 before, chances are I would not have enough understanding of the destination, and it might ruin the destination a little bit more, or it might not allow me to have the best experience that I could have if I started a little earlier. Alright guys, we're on to tip number 2, which is going to make a list for yourself. You're going to want to make a list of all the things that you want to do, all the things that you maybe want to do, and just everything and anything that is related to your trip, even if it's just ideas. Like if you're saying, I want to take cool pictures so and so, write it on your list. And some of the things I'm going to recommend are guides. This is a great way to make a list. So on iPhone, if you have an iPhone, you can make guides, and I'll show you kind of an example. But what I did was I made an Anaheim guide, I made an LA guide, and I think I even made just a general guide. The one that I think worked for me the most was definitely the LA guide. And even though I will be honest, I didn't use it much when we were in our trip to LA, it did help me with the planning of where each place is located, and made me rule out other places like restaurants that might be too far from our kind of zone of interest, if that makes sense, where we wanted to be at what times and what days. And overall, I felt like guides and helped with the list creating portion. The last way to make a list is obviously Instagram. Instagram is a great place to kind of get an idea of where people are doing in LA. So I like to check hashtags and locations, and I'll just start saving pictures of everything that's interesting to me, mostly of restaurants. I recommend these places for restaurants and just a bucket list thing of what you want to do in destinations. Again, you can do the same thing for any other destination that you go to. Like if you go to San Diego, if you go to Seattle, just do the same thing. Find Seattle bucket list, San Diego bucket list, find the hashtags. What are people doing? What is interesting to you that you can get inspiration from? So using these 3 different methods of lists, it's going to be very helpful for getting a sense of what you're interested in doing in this place. It'll be less likely that when you arrive to your destination that you'll be scatterbrained, because you'll know exactly what you want to do. Alright, tip number 3, you might be doing a solo trip, so this will probably not be applicable to you, but if you are not taking a solo trip and you're going to be going with a romantic partner or your friends or your family, make sure to share this list with them. Don't be discouraged if it's not the same as yours, but maybe find some common areas or tell them why you're excited about your list. That way you guys can all be on the same page. Maybe you roll out some things that are not as exciting and you're okay with leaving out of your list for when you visit. This is really important because being on the same page with whoever you're traveling with can make or break an experience. When you travel with anybody, you're going to have some give and take. You're going to have to be okay with not visiting all of the places that you want to visit, and be okay with leaving it for another time, if you know what I mean. So make sure you share those lists, rank everything before sharing, like which one is the most important that like you just have to do. If it's one thing that you have to do on that day, circle it and explain to them why you really want to do it. So that's my tip, is making sure you just share that information with the people that you're traveling with. It might also get them really excited, might get them to want to start researching. I think this is also the fun part of traveling, is sharing information with other people and creating your own kind of bucket list jointly, something that you can look back at together. Number 4 is very exciting for me to share because I felt like it's what made my trip with Adam to LA. Number 4 is to 110% make a schedule, even if it's a rough draft schedule. I made an Excel sheet schedule that I'm going to link down below for you guys to download for free. No, nothing included for me here, but I just loved it so much. I actually made this one in college, and I'm using it again because I found it super helpful in just structuring out the day. I will recommend using that list that you made earlier to see what can you add to this list that is really important to you and your family. Me and Adam added our flight information, notes. We added color coding based on the activity. So driving was orange, events were like purple, getting ready was yellow. Have fun with it, make it your own. I will say though that making this list really kind of put into our mind realistically what we could and couldn't do. And anyways, I really hope that you guys take advantage of making at least like a little bit of a schedule that you don't stick to but have reference, so you're not scatterbrained, you're not thinking about all the other million things you can do. You know what you're gonna do, you've talked it out with your people, and now you're just executing and having fun. So nonetheless, let's go on to number 5. Number 5 is definitely just more so an overall like getting there and hotel and where you're gonna stay kind of a tip. So you want to start early, like I mentioned earlier. Plan 6 months ahead of time because that's when you're gonna find the cheapest rates. The closer you get, the higher demand goes, so the higher the expenses go. You're gonna want to also think about where you want to cut your money at. So for me, hotels and transportation and just all of that is not that important to me. I want to spend the most money on my food, I want to spend the most money on tickets, and I want to spend the most money just in maybe events that I'm doing here and there, but definitely food and events. For us, this is where we kind of just go cheap, and I was lucky and my mom has a timeshare, so we were able to just pay for the fees of the timeshare, and we got a rental for very cheap. We used Avis, and the process was a little but you know, we were like, it's fine. Flights, we booked a red-eye flight, so maybe booking a red-eye flight for convenience will be really good for you, and for cheapness will be really good for you. The other thing I recommend with flights is try finding other airports in the vicinity, not just the main ones. So for LA, I think there's like 6 around. Look at the Google flights for each one so you can find the cheapest flight, and make sure you are in private mode for all your searching for hotels and flights. It's the worst when you're not in private mode and they can track you. I still feel like they can track you in private mode, but less likely. Anyways, try to do this while you're researching for hotel and lodging private mode, airports near the area, so you're not just looking at the big main one. Probably going to find a cheaper one, get a red eye if possible, and don't expect to have the fanciest hotel. Downgrade. When you get to the hotel, don't buy into the upgrades. Downgrade. You want to save money, you want to be cool, you want to be a cool kitten right now and save that money. There's no time to spend on a nice hotel if you're going to be out and about the whole time. So yeah, those are my tips. Alright guys, we have made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I wish you nothing but safe travels for your trip anywhere you go, even if it's not LA. I know this is LA, but you could be going to San Diego. You could be going anywhere, Seattle. Maybe you're abroad and you're going to Brighton for the weekend. I don't know. Anyways, I really enjoy you being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Okay, blooper moment. This is not real. You can tell, like, it's kind of coming off already. We went to a festival this weekend, the Bottle Rock Festival, and my friend was working it, and she gave me this tattoo. It looks so real to me though. Like, I pulled